You're in the right place. Welcome, everybody. It's Thursday, August 27th. We're 5 minutes after the 3 o'clock hour here on the East Coast, and we have a jam-packed show here today. Music for the movement, power to the people. We take you to Gary, Indiana, where power has almost completely been restored there. Calvin Davis with capital B joins us live. He's been doing phenomenal work there. He's also actually directly impacted by that. We take you on the ground there to Gary, Indiana, and Northwest Indiana, where people were without power for 2 weeks. Some, according to Calvin, still without power. We also introduce you to the leadership of Contra ICE, Dali Colorado, Jim Coleman, Jake Trussell, and more, a benefit album where all proceeds go to the groups on the front line fighting ICE. We get into all of that in the show. You guys are in the right place. Let's get the party started. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. It is Thursday, August 27th, and we haven't had a show in a week. Can you believe that? It's so cool to be back, man. I was in Los Angeles. I just landed here. I don't look too tired, do I? I had a zit on my nose, though, and my nose is red, but you guys are going to have to deal with that today, and also me going gray. But, you know, we've got some cool people here, and I've got you guys saw this at the Super Bowl, didn't you? This is my homie, Lalo Alcaraz. Ice out, baby. We have this proudly hanging in our home. This is at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara during the Super Bowl. You guys saw all of that. So cool. You guys are watching us. Before I go too much further here, thank you to Closer to the Edge and everybody watching us there from their Facebook page, Closer to the Edge. Our partner, let's call a partner, more of a friend here. Closer to the Edge, based in Minnesota. They've been on the front line carrying the torch of gonzo journalism. Their managing editor, Rook T. Winchester, he's just, he does so much stuff there. Should I be able to hear? Yes, you should be able to hear Jake. Sorry, we've gotten a little bit of a trouble, I think, with the audio with the guests. We'll figure that out. We'll get to it. Hopefully, we'll get that all worked out. But Closer to the Edge, guys, if you guys want to know more about them, go to closertotheedge.net. Check them out. Also, thank you to our sponsor, man. Things are really getting official over here. And happy Thursday. Get in the chat, share, like, subscribe, all the things. That helps us with the algorithm. Hit the hearts. Natalie Hernandez, The Truth. So awesome to have her here. And let me check in on Substack. I usually go a little bit before I check in on the chat, but I want to try to do better at this here just to see if you guys are getting engaged. Love that. Get settled in. And we're going to play a clip here for you to introduce you to what to introduce you what Contra ICE is doing here. You guys seen this logo? It's pretty cool. Golly, I'm sweating. I'm so hot. We'll have Creeper take it away.
Hey, what's up, homies? It's your homie Creeper, from Cholo Fit. We're gonna take a little breath, homie. You know what I'm saying? Do a little meditation to combat all the evil going on in the world right now. Because to that evil, we say, stupid. How dumb. All these fools coming in, like, oh, we're do-gooders, or oh, we're contributing all these things, when really they're just spreading hatred and negativity, homie. To that we say, stupid. How dumb. Kind of like that one tia, homie, who shows up to the barbecue with the little like $6 side dish of potato salad that nobody likes, homie. It tastes pretty whack, because she got it right there at Ralph's Market, and it only has like 4 scoops in it anyway, homie. So it's like, dang. But she showed up all proud, like, hey, look, I'm contributing, all crazy. But then she proceeds to drink most of the beer and the alcohol, homie, and gets all faded and starts talking shit, starts talking papas about everybody. Like, oh, Ricky can't hold a job, and Chencha looks dumb in turtlenecks, but she's like, not to feed into her negativity too, homie, but she's ugly, homie. Like, she hasn't had a man in like 12 years, and like everybody knows that. But she's right there. She'll get all drunk on me. She starts trying to twerk, being all ass up at the barbecue. That's nasty. Like trying to get a man all thirsty, but nobody likes it, homie. And then she ends up like hurting her back. And it's just like sad and negative, homie. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that, but like 1,000 times worse what's happening, homie. You know what I'm saying? Like these fools come in here like, oh, we're contributing. But then they're just causing trauma and spreading hatred and trying to ruin the lives of immigrants who helped build this country, homie. So to that, we say, stupid. How dumb. Hey, let's stay connected with each other, homie. We're gonna get through this. We have before, and know that Creeper loves you, eh? That's what's up. Stupid. How dumb.
Cholo Fit Creeper is one of the many personalities that are part of Contra ICE, and the leadership of Contra ICE joins us now. Dali, Colorado, Jake Trussell, and Jim Coleman. Thank you guys so much for taking the time, man. How are you?
You're good. Glad to be here. Thanks for having us on.
Dali, what was that all about?
What that meditation or what?
Yeah, tell us, man. It's more than just
my reaction to it. Oh God, I love Frankie so much.
Frankie Quiñones is one of the, I guess, just one of the badass chingones out there who's just taking his platform and applying it to this. Tell me, Dali, I'll start with you and we'll get to Jake and Jim. And we also, before we get too much further, I'll add Calvin Davis to the stage. We're going to get to Gary, Indiana in just a little bit. Calvin is there on the ground. But before we get to that, we want to introduce you to Contra ICE and what they're doing. But we have a really jam-packed show here. Calvin is going to be in the green room. He's going to take us just through everything that happened in the last 2 weeks in Northwest Indiana. Only 99%, not even everybody has power back. He just got power restored. Calvin, really appreciate you and teasing your segment ahead. We'll talk to you in a little bit, all right? Love it. But Dali and Jake and Jim, Contra ICE, this, when I first met you in Los Angeles, I guess it was 4 months ago now, Dali?
Yeah,
in April. You had a launch, right? You had a launch party. You had something that was just so dynamic. Tell us about what this is all about.
Okay, so let's say, and Jim and Jake can definitely attest to this. I think maybe it was about a year ago that I reached out to both of them about this idea that I had. And it had been fostering, whatever. My best friend Olivia from Ozomatli and I are so tight. He's my brother. We love each other so deeply. We grew up together. We grew up during the Reagan and Bush eras. And, this is next level compared to what we grew up with.
Yeah.
But we were just like, man, things are going to get so freaking bad.
Oh, you can cuss here. You could say fucking shit. Go ahead.
Okay, fucking shit, man. Things are really going to get really scary. Like we felt it in our guts. And it was like, well, what are we going to do? Like, and we were both like, well, where's all of the things that we grew up with, like all of the activism when it came to like bringing like artists and creatives together, like Farm Aid, Live Aid. Obviously, those are really big things. But then I was talking to him about like Red Hot and Blue and how that started with just a compilation, right? And then it grew into this to just bring awareness around HIV and AIDS that was like right at the beginning. It's like, well, we're right at the beginning of this ICE thing, right? Yeah. And so, and it's like, well, we can just start with a compilation, right? And then see where it goes. But through that idea, and he told me, he said, Dali, you're a DJ. We made mixtapes for each other when we were teenagers. It's like, you're a DJ. Your life is music. I grew up a child of a single mother teacher that taught ESL and Spanish, specifically in LAUSD to immigrants. And she always took me to protest. I mean, my first protests were like, just all over Los Angeles. Anyway, so basically it was just kind of like, well, this is in my DNA. Being involved in social justice, but also like having music resonate with me so much as I was growing up. It was like, this is something that can happen for us. And so it was like, all right, let's just do an album. But then what happened in the conversations. And Uli said, throw the darts, just throw the darts to everybody. He's like, I'll help you connect with people, but people trust you, throw the darts. The common narrative with everybody that has come into our collective and this project is like, I didn't know what to do.
Dali, it's so cool because every movement needs music. Every movement needs an anthem and something behind it. I want to play a clip that you sent me here. And I guess, is this a song with video to it? It's part of the press kit that you guys sent me. Is it one of the songs from the album as background music to the video? Or is this just
probably?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the Abolish ICE track.
Yeah, here we go. Let's play a clip from their press kit here. Music is a universal language. I love this.
They abducted him, took him into custody, then he disappeared. Abolish ICE. Abolish ICE.
There have been crows, officers, not identifying themselves.
There are no internal checks.
Phenomenal. Just one of the tracks here on the Contra ICE album. Tell us about the track, guys. Jim or Jake? Go
That's
ahead.
Jim and Jake together.
Come on in. Talk to us about it. That's you guys.
Yeah.
So that track was a collaboration between the two of us. I think it started with.
I can't hear. Give me 1 second.
Oh, okay. No, Jake. Okay, we can hear you, Jake.
Yeah.
We can hear you for sure.
I'll lead in. It's like that. So the collaboration between Jake and I think it started with some kind of textures and kind of grabbed, samples from, around the ICE activities and protests. And then Jake is a consummate jungleist, and he kind of like, broke it apart and turned it into this, highly energetic jungle track. It's awesome. But somehow, in a way, I forgot about it. Like watching it now, I'm like, yeah, it's like the spirit of rebellion kind of like embodied in there.
Was that the intention to try to give those on the front lines sort of a track, a playlist for them as they're out there in their activism, or what was the inspiration behind this?
I wouldn't say that was. I feel like for most of the stuff that I've done on the record, it's like it's a way of digesting and processing just the onslaught of kind of bad news and social political injustices. It's a way that it filters through me, and it's like detoxes. It detoxes it to me. It turns it into something more creative and positive in some way, if that makes sense.
It does. And absolutely. I mean, solo el pueblo salva al pueblo is our motto here. Only the people will save each other. And Jake, what made you be part of this pueblo with Dali and Jim and others? I mean, you got Fred Armisen, you got Tom Morello. The list goes on and on.
Yeah. Kathleen Hanna, Adrock, it's an incredible list of people. I was feeling similarly to what Dali was saying, like around early 2015, 2025, I'm like, this is going to get bad. And I felt kind of helpless, and then sure enough, by the end of that year, ICE was here in Chicago. I'm in Chicago, and ICE was here in force. And I'm sure you remember Operation Midway Blitz. And my community really rallied, which was excellent to see. We all got together and were learning about what to do and how to help. I was carrying my whistle around. I still am. But I also felt kind of helpless. I was like, what? Yeah. I don't know what I can do more than just, this super local community work, which is very important.
Absolutely.
But I wished that there was some way to do more. So when Dali called, I was like, are you kidding? This is exactly what I want to, you know. And of course, you know, it's art. So like, how much is that actually going to help? Well, actually, it can help immensely, as we know. We saw what happened in the 60s, right? When protest music really sort of did become the soundtrack for the movement. And
yeah, the Abby Hoffman era, you know,
Yeah.
when we had a lot of these like songs that are used today, the Jimi
Right.
Hendrix Experience, you know, you hear some of these songs and it immediately takes you back to that era and that time. Dali, when you look at this album, when you look at the rollout, you know, from getting people like comedian Frankie Quinones involved, from getting Lalo Alcaraz, you know, who's just this phenomenal quintessential Chicano artist, what are you most proud of?
Our community that we're building. This is our family.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing, is that like it really, like what resonates with me the most is that it seems like we were all looking for something. We were all looking for some sort of purpose on how we creatively can fight this injustice with our art, right?
Yeah.
There are proceeds that are going to these organizations, but there's also proceeds going to our hearts and our spirits and our keeping our vibe up to keep creating things and create community, because that's the thing, is that fascism cannot break our creativity down. They want to, but they can't. And so I really feel the vibration of just Contra ICE, to me, is bringing everybody together to keep it going. As I say, let's do the damn thing. We're doing the damn thing together. And it's like just the joy and the love that and the community that this is all built for all of us. We're feeling so like, what the hell do we do? But now guess what? Here we are, and we're doing Contra ICE.
Was it for you a specific example of fascism? You know, fascism, I think when I first got into independent journalism, I was reluctant to even say that word. And let me just check in with the chat here. Garden City, South Carolina, thank you guys so much for being here. And share this conversation, guys. We're live on nickvalencianews.com. Share it, amplify the message. That's the only way it gets out. Like, hearts, all that stuff. And then Swaggy McBaggy are one of my favorite commenters here on YouTube. I love his name here. So please amplify this. And if you guys are just joining us, we're talking with the leadership here of Contra ICE. It's a benefit album, and all the proceeds are going to community organizations that are fighting ICE on the front lines. And part of the pueblo, you know, we're talking about solo el pueblo salva el pueblo. We're talking about these elements of fascism. When I first got into independent journalism, I think I was reluctant to say, oh, you know, this is fascist, right? I mean, I was probably coming from this corporate newsroom atmosphere where I equated fascism to Mussolini, to Hitler, to, you know, to these really bombastic or dramatic, you know, big things, right? Tentpole things that we had in our history. What was it for you, Jim, that it was so evident that we were slipping into this fascist state here?
I don't have an immediate answer for that, but it is this feeling of like looking around and seeing like what's happening to the fabric of our country, and it's not just our country; it's worldwide. But our country is kind of like you know, in the center of this ship, and it seems so clear, and it's mind-boggling to me that there's this whole vast, you know, population that are living in the middle of it and supporting it and are like, you know, proponents of it, even though it's against their own interests. You know,
that is surprising to me. It's that they're not just passively agreeing with what's happening. There are people out there in the streets that are applauding this shit.
Yep.
I mean, you look at these images like this that are part of the videos, and we'll play this clip here in a little bit. It's got a soundtrack to it. But you look at images like this, and people are actually celebrating this stuff, Jake. That, you know, it's hard to understand it. Looking at what happened in Chicago with Midway Blitz, are you around people? Have you encountered people who are like, yeah, man, you know, we agree with this. What the fuck are you doing with this album? Why go down this road?
I'm a moderator on Nextdoor, the community platform, and yeah, during Midway Blitz, Nextdoor really became this kind of battleground. You know, you had both viewpoints Both sides of the aisle were there, let's say. And I felt like my job as a moderator a lot of times became kind of moderating disinformation. You know, that's a huge
Wow.
part of it, is like, I think that's what drives, it's what has driven, as Jim was describing, this rise of, you know, I don't know if fascism is ultimately going to be the word for it, because
Right.
that was Mussolini, and Hitler was the Nazis, and like, this is something different, but it is tyranny. I don't know if you've read the book on tyranny, but it basically describes like what we are slipping into. It's a great book because it actually kind of prescribes what to do about tyranny. Like, and that is what I feel like we're doing. You know, we're putting ourselves out there and saying, we're not going to let this be normalized. It's not normal. It's un-American, and we're not going to let this happen.
It is tyranny. And, you know, fascism may be too strong of a word, but I know people agree with it and they see it and they say,
totally. It's very similar.
I will give you my example. You know, when I asked you, Jim, that question, I think it was a loaded question, because for me as an independent journalist, I remember being on the phone with Don Lemon hours before he was arrested. And then I was on the phone with his mom the morning of him, and we all got the news that he was in custody. And I remember just, you know, being on the phone with her, and then getting off the phone and immediately talking to my wife and making a plan in case something happened to me. And so that's what I mean by elements of fascism, is that there was, and maybe I'm naive to think that there's not anymore, but there was a genuine fear that I had that potentially there would be a knock on the door, especially with all of the negativity that I saw online of, as I was saying, people applauding this.
Yeah.
And so do you guys have examples, Dali, of that for you in your communities? In you know, I know what happened in Los Angeles where you are, or I'm sorry, in Portland, and where, you know, you're from in LA, Dali, but what examples do you have in your community that you know, really got you involved in this?
My heart.
Yeah.
I'm born and raised Northeast Los Angeles. I mean, you know, grew up doing this. What it was, honestly, for me, is that I had like a moment of like, you're either going to break the fuck down or you're going to do something.
Yeah.
And so for me, that was my personal thing, right? It was very, 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 very personal. It wasn't just a thing that I saw or experienced. This was like, I had to come to whatever moment with my spirit and with my own, what is my purpose in life moment. And that was mine. Yeah.
I want to play a track here, and then we'll get you guys final thoughts here on the back end. But I want to play this track that we've been playing video of here, because it's another sample from this track here, Contra Ice. Here's the preview here in Rolling Stone. Kathleen Hanna, Ad Rock, Tom Morello, more. Tap for the Contra Ice Volume 1 Ice Out Benefit Album. Here's a track.
I was violated. I was never arrested. I was never charged. I was never given an explanation or an apology. This was not just an incident. It was a violation of my physical being, my rights, my dignity, and my humanity. They were proud to have captured me. I was preyed upon. I was not treated like a human being, and I was certainly not treated like a U.S. citizen. They never read me my rights. I was laughed at and thrown into a filthy jail cell. And I will not rest until there's accountability, transparency, and change. I refuse ICE to rewrite my story. I refuse to let fear silence me.
Land of the free. What you're doing is so powerful, guys. I mean, I'm not bullshitting. Like, I just got goosebumps listening to that, and that powerful testimony. Dali, I know it's in your heart. I know that you need to be in action. You need to be given your flowers, because you have been quarterbacking all of this. you have been doing this as a volunteer. You have a full-time job. You're volunteering your time, your energy, your sanity in a lot of ways by helping coordinate everything. You know, it's just, I don't know. I just want to give you your flowers here publicly and let you know what an awesome person you are. We talk all the time that there's no superhero coming to save us, and you are the superhero for your community.
Agreed. Totally.
Thank you. Don't make me cry.
Well, I mean, that's not the intention. I don't want to make anyone cry. I want happy tears here.
It's happy tears. I mean, this project is everything to me. And our community that we've built is everything to me. So it's just something so incredibly special that this is what we all needed. So thank you, Nick. Thanks for giving me my flowers. I appreciate that.
Yes, and you know, we're going to bring Jim and Jake back to the stage here, but you know, is there anything that you want to say? I want to give you the spotlight here for just a few seconds. Is there anything that you want to say with this platform that you have right now? Anything that you want to tell people out there as to why they should get involved if they're reluctant to at this point?
Well, I mean, I think that our network of creative people is so incredible, and we really came together.
Yeah.
And created something so beautiful. But I think that there is maybe not a disconnect, but that people don't know that we're doing this all volunteer. This is everybody coming together and just working hard to bring this movement. So none of us are getting paid. I mean, I'm working, you know, and I will do it, but it's like we need donations. We've needed donations to get to the place that we are, but we still need donations to actually operationally run.
Yeah.
Because we do have a 501c4, Build Art Make Change, that we had to do. And Contra ICE is under the umbrella of that. But we're just working with no pay at this point. And to continue the movement, to put out the next volume, to do the next concert, we need money. So
Amen.
Donate to us, please.
How can we, as we bring Jim and Jake back to the stage, and we're going to get to Calvin Davis, and I see Alejandra Acuña in the green room right here. She's a chingona in her own right here, Dr. Acuña. We're going to get to her book on the back half of this show. How can people follow with what Contra ICE is doing? How can we follow what you're doing, Jake, Jim, and Dali? The floor is yours.
ContraIce.com. It's contra-ice.
Jim?
Actually,
oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jake.
Oh, it's good. We have good SEO, so just search Contra ICE. It'll come up.
Yeah. And that album is out October 2nd, and you can pre-order the vinyl and digital as well. And that's the kind of the first step, I guess, in kind of what we can see doing, social change.
Just amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. I really just want to thank you guys for taking the time. And I know it took a lot of planning getting all three of you guys here coordinated. We wanted to get Yuli from Ozomatli. He couldn't make it. But tell us, you know, gosh, man, I can't begin to explain to you how dope it was to see Ozomatli there at the No Kings rally and to see them still using their voice and their platform. You know, I mean, it's just amazing what you guys are doing. So how can we donate? I'll give you guys the last word here before we let you go and get to Calvin Davis. How can we find it? It's contra-ice.net or tell me one more time.
.com, yep. And there's a donate link there. That's probably the easiest way. Yeah.
And also, yeah, if you just go to our social media is really incredible. So you just go to our social media, just go to our website, contraice.com, Build Art Make Change. It's all right there. You can pre-order the album. And then also one little thing, but we are doing our album launch event in Los Angeles on October 3rd, downtown LA. And you can also pre-order tickets online as well. And there's going to be special intimate performances by a lot of the artists that are on the album. And you're not going to know until September 1st, but look at the album and just guess.
Tom Morello, Ad Rock, Kathleen Hanna, and more. Look at that. I love this stuff. Ice Out, Contra ICE Volume 1, benefit album. I've got my towel here from the Super Bowl. Shout out to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it.
Remove that. Thank you guys so much for taking the time today. We really appreciate you guys. God bless you.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you too. Bye, guys. Wow. That was awesome. That was awesome. We really wanted to get them on the show to promote what they're doing and just all the efforts that they've made and contributed to the community. You know, solo el pueblo salva el pueblo. We really, really believe in that motto here. We pivot now to another important story that has been dominating independent news headlines. I don't know where the national media has been. They finally caught up to our next guest here. Calvin Davis is a reporter with Capital B, and they've been on the front lines of what is happening in Northwest Indiana. Thousands of people without power for weeks. Calvin, initially I thought that you were in Atlanta, but you're actually impacted directly by what happened. Tell us what the situation is there now. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, so it has definitely improved over the course of the last 2 weeks. The storm that originally hit us came through on August 11th. And since then, the story for me, at least in my reporting, I've gone through a couple of stages. It started as a weather story. I learned more about a derecho storm than I would have ever known in my life. But it started there. And then it started, to lean itself into what the actual issues here are. And so, from a weather perspective, we have a lot of trees. We also had a very rainy season this year, which caused a lot of trees to be uprooted. So we're not just talking about branches. We're talking about 60-foot trees being fully uprooted.
And at least here in Atlanta, you've got trees that were planted 100 years ago, and now they're very susceptible to falling. Is that a similar situation in Gary? You've got a lot of big old trees that are...
Yes, a lot of big old trees, And I was able to speak to an arborist who studies the tree coverage by percentage by the cities. And we have the highest in the area. We were at 28%. A nearby city was at 16%. And we're also the largest city. So you're looking at a higher percentage of a larger area. We have a lot of trees. And so, and it wasn't just the city either. We had 300,000 people without power initially. So the entire county was out. And it just so happened that Gary was the last city to get its power back.
300,000 people without power is like half the size of Memphis, right? You got half the city of Memphis without power for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The initial speculation was that, look, if this was a white community, if you had an all-white community or an affluent community, you'd have whatever power agency that was in there, you'd have FEMA in there, you'd have all sorts of resources in there. How much merit do you think there is to that this is predominantly a community of Black and brown people?
So, and that's why I kind of started my reporting with the storm itself. The storm was a historic storm. We're talking about hurricane force winds on land. But I think that the issue is on the front end, what was the preparedness? And so our utility company goes to the regulatory body, which is the IURC. That's the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. They go to that committee so that they can hike rates. When they go there, they have to explain why they want to hike rates. In the last filings that they've listed that they wanted to perform system hardening measures. And so a lot of that revolves around vegetation management. And there's a class action lawsuit being filed right now against the utility company. And I've looked at there's 18 allegations there. Every single one of those allegations has to do with vegetation management and ignoring requests for eliminating trees that were near power lines. And so there are some communities around here that do have underground power lines. And so we think that poor infrastructure here, poor infrastructure management here over the last maybe 10, 15 years or so may have contributed to that. And on the back end, as we're talking about, lineman crews had to come into the city, get lines off of trees. Our mayor has accused the utility company of kind of dragging their feet and getting here. The president just approved a major disaster declaration for the area, and so that should open up a lot of funding for individuals, and they can apply for those themselves.
What's the situation right now? And if you're just joining us here, you are joined by Capital B correspondent Calvin Davis, who has been impacted directly himself, not only reporting on the issue of the ongoing power outages. They are ongoing because not 100% of the community still has power. Ongoing power outages. So some people more than 2 weeks without electricity. They can't power their refrigerator, can't turn on the lights. They're in the dark. And this is a community that for the last 10, 15 years has, from what Calvin is reporting out, has been sort of overlooked when it comes to infrastructure maintenance. You would think that if this was a community that had some means, that if there were higher property taxes or homes that had a little bit more value to them, that there would be more people willing to help.
Yeah.
How are you doing right now? I mean, you're reporting on this while also living through it. That's got to be, that's awful, man.
Yeah, and I would say really the work has been able to kind of keep me busy throughout it all. Like I said, I started with the reporting, talking to meteorologists, talking to environmental scientists. That kept me busy during the first week. But it's dark at night, and you don't realize how dark it gets, but also our dependency on electricity. And so in the first couple of days, you still have the habit of flicking a switch when you walk in the room. You still have the habit of kind of opening the refrigerator, as you just do, just to look around. But after about 7 days, it starts to set in a little bit, and you start, kind of getting a bit of comfort with the dark. I hate to say.
Jeez.
But our biggest concern.
Take me through this. Like, I want to know what it's like though when you start to get used to the dark. Like, what are the things that like sort of become normalized here? Besides getting dressed in the dark and maybe putting on 2 pairs of socks.
So
different
luckily,
pairs of socks, right?
Since we're in the summertime, we have daylight until about 8 p.m. And so it's not getting dark at 4:30 as it would be in the winter. My largest concern was really with our older generation. So imagine if you're not mobile and if you're not mobile, you don't have electricity, so you don't have a cell phone. No one can reach you unless they were to physically go and see you. And so it was hard for a lot of the older communities to kind of report their issues out. And even as we go forward, no one's able to keep food. So people need food every single day, which require you to get out the house every single day. And so we have a lot of older residents who haven't been able to stand in line. Some of these lines have been, wrapped around buildings. They're not able to, to get out and stand in those lines. So what we've really seen is the community leaning on itself. We've seen individuals, pulling out their saws, helping neighbors chop some of these trees, and also delivering food. Some of the food truck people have been staying open late, giving out free food. So we've seen a lot of that, and that's been a silver lining here.
And for those of you guys who may have missed it, because maybe you get your news a little bit from national news and have missed some of our reporting, I want to play a quick 50-second clip of something that I posted on my social media, grabbing from someone online who has a local tie to Northwest Indiana, to the Gary community, catch you up on what's been going on there. Here you go. You need to hear this story.
Being in the dark is dangerous.
There's a city in America right now that is currently without power going on nearly 2 weeks. Gary, Indiana is majority black, and it's been without power for 9 days. This is somebody who has ties to the local community. About 22,000 people don't have electricity to power their refrigerators, turn on their lights. Some people have tried to check into hotels. Those hotels, powered by generators, have also gone without power. It is dangerous there, and they're going to be going without power for another maybe 4 or 5 days. It is not national news. This has been buried in national headlines. There was a storm that ripped through there on August 11th, and it wiped out a lot of people's power. Gary, Indiana, though, still without power 9 days after that storm ripped through.
We know if this was a city that was not majority black, that we would have heard about this on every news outlet there is.
Calvin Davis, Capital B reporter, who's been reporting on the ground there and living through it. How frustrating has it been, Calvin, when you turn on CNN, MSNBC, you're seeing 3, 4, 5 days go on without power in a major U.S. city, and you see nothing on national news?
Yeah, it was kind of surprising. My phone died originally on Wednesday night. I was able to charge my phone, and I got back on it on Saturday, and I still hadn't seen any national coverage. We'd been reporting on it since Tuesday, the day of the storm, obviously. And really, it was posts like the one that you just showed. It really gained a lot of traction on social media. Then kind of mainstream media kind of tacked on, and I even found myself doing 5 TV hits on Monday. But that was the day before power was returned. We needed a lot of that attention after the 11th. And yeah, I absolutely agree with him. I can't see many other cities going that long without some type of national coverage.
I don't want to be dramatic, but when I saw that, I thought Katrina. I remember, living through that, and Kanye being like, President Bush doesn't care about black people, right? I mean, we remember that. I think you're a little younger than me, but I remember that, right?
Yeah, I do too.
So like, that's what I was reminded of here. You have a community, a storm rolls through. It's Michael Jackson's hometown, man. I remember being in Gary, Indiana when we played Notre Dame at USC, and like all the kids were screaming the fight song of the Irish. And it's like, it's so inextricably linked with like the Catholic community.
Yeah.
Where were they at? Where were they all at?
And so, we are also connected to, Chicago is our media market. Everyone in Northwest Indiana watches Chicago news. And, obviously the same storm that hit them hit us. It hit us a little harder. So we did have some Chicago reporters come out, as they always are. But even then, and that's what really shocked me. So I would think that, we're the only kind of newspaper that's located in Gary. So it didn't shock me that our coverage didn't pick up bigger. But once even Chicago was covering us, I thought that it would have got some national coverage after that. And it still took the TikToks of some of our residents to get seen by other people in the country. And they shared it. And then it was able to cross their radars. But, either way, we're happy to get the attention now because it's going to be needed as we go into the future. Like I said, so many people have to toss their food out. They may have, used their stamps to get that food, have to wait until their stamps are replenished to get more. And so, food is a big need. Our medical supplies for our elderly. A lot of people, maybe on CPAP machines and things like that. And we still have people without power. Even this morning, I saw that some residents have had fires on their power lines. I reached out to NIPSCO. They said that that has to go through the fire department. They haven't gotten back with me yet, but so we anticipate that even after national media leaves, there's still going to be a story to follow here.
I mean, there's going to be a story to follow, and we're going to lean on you, Calvin. You're welcome back to the show anytime. You're phenomenal. We love reporters that are honest, man, and rigorously honest about what's going on and transparent. And also, man, my heart goes out to you because you're living through it. And as a national correspondent, I often parachuted into communities, but there was times where I'd be trapped there too. I remember being trapped in Puerto Rico. I was there when the hurricane, Category 5 Hurricane Maria hit, and how helpless we all felt. I had no idea how I was going to get off the island. And it wasn't me that was living through it. I was there to report on it, but I was also kind of living through it. And I could only imagine what it's like for someone like you who's, you get your mail delivered here. Your roots are there. It's really devastating to know that. So it's going to take reporters like you to continue to keep this story alive, because solo el pueblo salva al pueblo, man. Only the people save each other. Calvin Davis, anything I haven't asked you that is important to know? Anything you'd like to say? Now's your chance before we get to Alejandra Acuña.
Just real quick. I think this experience has really let me know the importance of local journalism. We're here all year round, and so we've been covering the residents' relationship with NIPSCO, our utility company, even beforehand. And even as we've been recommending resources, people know that we're here. And so people from outside of the city have contacted us to get them in touch with people to get resources out to them. So I really have seen in real time the importance of having local journalists on the ground.
Man, I have always been a fan of like the writers, people that are print journalists. To me, they're the real reporters, man. So thank you for gracing us with a real reporter's presence here. I'm just a guy that talks on TV and talks on stream.
So short, Nick.
Also, I'd like be remiss to not mention this. Calvin Davis, also part of the URL Media Collective. We are a collective of about 50 independent journalist outlets owned by people of color, and we are highlighting the struggles of communities that are often overlooked, the underserved, the disenfranchised, those that don't have a voice. And we hear this all the time from journalists. We give a voice to the voiceless. Sometimes it's our own voice that we need to amplify. And now we could use our own platforms, man. Calvin Davis, how can we follow you before we let you go?
Really read all my work at Capital B Gary. Just type in Capital B Gary and you'll find us there. I'm the calculation on pretty much every social media. That's my handle. And I do thank you for having me.
Thank you. God bless you, brother. We'll see you next time. Calvin Davis with URL Media Collective and Capital B. Doing just phenomenal work here. We want to, expand our coverage. You are used to seeing so much about social justice, so much about civil liberties, government overreach, the surveillance state, the expansion of the private prison infrastructure. All of that is basically to say you hear a lot of sad news here. You hear a lot of stuff that may weigh on your psyche, stuff that may impact your emotional health. It may deregulate you a little bit and make you feel, I don't know, like you're alone, you know? I know that I have felt that way. I know that I'm just actually coming off of a pretty bad mental health episode myself. And I never want to blame what I'm seeing or what I'm absorbing as being a cause of my struggles. You know, that to me is kind of not owning myself as the problem so I can have a solution. But I will say that it doesn't help, you know, it doesn't help to see all this stuff, which is why I really wanted to have our next guest here who is so much dedicated to emotional well-being, to cultural significance, to generational trauma and how it impacts us here. Her new book is out now, Stones, Flowers, and Lessons Learned. Dr. Alejandra Acuña joins us now live on Nick Valencia Live. Dr. Acuña, how are you?
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I'm so excited. Thank you for having me. What a treat. I just got to hear your last two guests, and
Yeah.
wow, what important news. And then it's like, and then you're gonna cut to me. Like, I'm glad I made the cut. I'm glad to be here.
No, you are a chingona. We want to highlight people in our community. We want to highlight people that are doing the work. Talk to me about what went into this project here, because it's a personal story. It's a collection. I don't want to take any words here. Tell us what it's all about.
So, Nick, you have no idea. It goes, so back in the 6th grade, I just knew like I wanted to be a writer. And as the daughter of Mexican immigrants, I didn't know any writers. And I knew that I did not want to be a starving artist. Like that was not, my mom needed like a car or whatever she needed. And so I took this long path. I became a school social worker, a social work professor. Like I had a really rich career. And then when I burned out, because I was a workaholic, I retired from LA Unified School District, from Cal State Northridge. And then I was like, I can write now. And the beauty was I have so much to say now because of my lived experience, because of my research, because of my work with families. So I worked with a lot of students and families who dealt with trauma. Very prevalent at high rates in the schools that I worked at. And I came across this really interesting intervention, a couple of studies. So in African refugee camps, they did this thing where they would have refugees sit outside and put like a rope on the ground that represented their autobiographical timeline. Then either a lay counselor or a mental health professional would give them rocks and flowers and ask them to place the rocks and the flowers on their autobiographical timeline and then tell the stories about their rock and flower moments. And it turns out that telling those stories in like rich sensory detail over time decreased their PTSD symptoms. And if that weren't enough,
wow,
whoever was the listener would note, record their stories, and then those stories could be used in as testimony, like war crimes. So I was just like, oh my God, so this metaphor of telling our story, our whole story, not just the one thing that happened to us, but our whole lives. Our whole lives are full of rocks and flowers, and telling those stories is healing. And I found that it was incredibly healing for me. Even in retirement, I thought I had healed a lot. It was so incredibly healing for me. And as people read it, they tell me like, oh, I can relate. It helped me to transform. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you mean me being vulnerable, telling my stories can help other people? I mean, like, I got nothing left to do.
What is the metaphor of rocks and flowers? And for those of you guys who are just joining us here, you're joined by Dr. Alejandra Acuña, the author of the new book, Stones, Flowers, and Lessons Learned. She's a Chicana, an author, and somebody here to share her story. What is the metaphor of stones and flowers?
So the idea is the way that they used it, it's called narrative exposure therapy. The way they used it is that they were symbolic, right? The rocks on the timeline, the flowers. And it's the idea that the rocks are those really heavy, painful times in your life. So for me, it was when my mom died. Like that was an incredibly painful rock in my life. And
my dad died when I was 17. I've never been the same since.
Exactly. And there's something about writing about that, the good, the bad, the horribly beautiful. There's something about telling the whole story that lays it to rest, that brings some peace to our life. So rocks are the painful moments, and then the flowers are the beautiful moments. Like when I graduated, I got my PhD at UCLA like in my mid 40s, like after my divorce, and my middle school age daughter was like standing in the audience, like literally standing in her chair in the audience, so I could see her when I was walking down the aisle. So there are rocks and flower moments. It's so interesting that my mom and my daughter figure big in my examples, but that's what came up. But anyway, so that's what they represent. They represent, and we all have them. We all have rock, difficult, painful moments, and we all have flower, beautiful, triumphant stories.
Is there a scenario where the rock becomes a flower or vice versa? Or is there, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, for sure, for sure.
I
See,
ask as a loaded question because I just went through a very rock moment here.
then why don't you tell us, Nick? Because the example's not coming up to mind. I'd love to hear yours, actually. What is yours?
I last week had a very, I don't want to trigger anyone here, but I was on the phone with the suicide prevention hotline last week, and I've never made that call before. It felt so reminiscent to a rock bottom when I stopped drinking, that I felt that I needed to get into action. And with the mental health challenges that I have, my disease of perception often encourages me to isolate, or it tells me that I'm alone. And that comes with a tremendous amount of shame and embarrassment. For those of you who have mental health issues, you know that when you are on your darkest moment, you think that you are making so many people around you unhappy that the world would be better if you weren't here. And that is not truth. That is not fact. Those feelings are not fact. And so what I found myself doing over the course of the last 7 days was getting into action in order to try to turn, and I didn't know I was going to be talking about this, but in order to try to turn that stone moment into a flower moment, so that I could be relieved of the bondage of self, And I guess that's the example that I have, is that this rock moment very recently, I'm trying to turn into a flower moment,
Yeah, I think you did it. I think you did it, my dear. I just want to say, like, right back at you, chingon. You know what I mean? Because I feel like being vulnerable in a public setting, being vulnerable to ourselves and privately is hard. And thank you for being vulnerable. And thank you for being a Latino man who's vulnerable. Thank you for being a chingon who's willing to be vulnerable, because now there's a community and individual purpose to your story. Like, people will resonate and people will be like, oh my God, he's doing such important things and he feels that way too. You mean I'm not alone? So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're finding meaning. I'm glad you were able to connect. I'm glad to be talking to you today, and I'm glad to be connected with you and this story. Thank you.
How do we, what are some of the things that we can do in our community? What are some of the lessons that we take away from your book? Because if you're just joining us, you're joined by a very special guest here, Dr. Alejandra Acuña, author of Stones, Flowers, and Lessons Learned. It's talking about these traumatic moments, these sort of tentpole moments in our life that can either make us or break us. And what sort of lessons do we learn here in this book?
Yeah, so the first one for me, it's incredibly deeply personal, and I want to scream it. Like, I want to get into the car, you know, those megaphones that they
yeah.
What do they say? Refrigeradores, tamales. I want to yell, like, it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to talk about it. So what I experienced and what I've looked at in the research supports it so much, is that it's so important. We want to talk about it. And if anybody's ever been through a breakup, they know, like, I want to talk to my friends about it 10 times. And when they're sick of me and stop answering my phone calls, I'll find another 10 people that I can talk about it. We want to talk about it because we need to digest it. We need to make sense of it. We need to create meaning. That's like trauma recovery. So talking about it, writing about it, collaging, dancing, whatever creative expression you have access to, expressing it is so important. And I mean, like,
You need to say it out loud. That's what I've found. It's different than just putting it in text or writing it out and typing it. For some reason, for me, and I don't know what you found or if this is in your books or examples, but if I say it out loud, I have to deal with it. It becomes real. It's not the crazy, and I don't mean that, derogatorily. I'm talking about me. It's not the crazy that I have in my head where it feels like static. I need to say it out loud and speak it so I can deal with it,
I love that self-awareness. I love that you know that for you, your medicine is saying it out loud.
Yes.
For others, James Pennebaker does a lot of journaling research, and he found that writing it out, like, takes it out of our head, where I agree with you. It somehow it makes sense in there. But once we put it out into the light of day, it's like, oh, wait a minute. I don't even, like, I can see the holes in this now.
Yeah.
So talking about it, writing about it, whatever creative expression you have access to is incredibly healing. And so I found that in semi-retirement, I thought I had done so much healing in my life. And when I wrote about my mom, I was bawling because there were so more things that I needed to process.
It was cathartic.
Incredibly. And then things happened because, like, a family friend and a family member that I hadn't seen in a long time, I'm like, hey, I'm writing this book. Can you tell me stories about my mom? Oh my gosh, like, be careful what you ask for. So I was processing a lot. And what I wrote in the first chapter at the end was, write your story. Everybody, write your story. Write the good, the bad, the horribly beautiful, write all of it. There's something that happens. And there's another researcher, Mary Main and John Bowlby, the father and mother of attachment security. They found that when a parent is able to talk about their childhood, the good, the bad, the horribly beautiful, the positive, the negative, emotions, facts, events, there's something about telling a coherent story that lays it to rest. Regardless of what kind of past you've had, if you can tell the whole story, you can file it away, like kindergarten, that traumatic event, the death of a parent, going to college, your first day in the dorms, they all get filed away, and that painful memory loses its heat, and it doesn't chase you into the middle of the night. So that's my message. Hablen de todo eso. Talk about it, write about it. Yeah, it's okay.
I love that, con el micrófono y todo. Hablen de todo eso. Hablen de todo.
Can you see him driving in the troca with the little, I just want to drive down the neighborhood and tell everyone. Like, that's how I want to disseminate my research,
God, and it's so important for our community. I know one of the toughest conversations I ever had was when I told, my mom that I was going on antidepressants. It's like, are you sure you need that? Right. And as it turns out, yeah, but it's also, I can understand why people don't want to go down that route. We're not talking about this, but it's kind of, I think, linked and germane. People don't want to feel like guinea pigs. People don't want to go through that trauma or that testing ground. It's incredibly difficult. And for some people, it's so much easier to not acknowledge, to just say, okay, it's not happening. I could only imagine what it was like for my wife to be married to an alcoholic, an active alcoholic. I'm in recovery, but to be married to an active alcoholic and not want to admit maybe that, hey, my husband who likes to party and is really fun is actually blowing up his life, And I think the more that we talk about it, that's why I was so adamant and wanting to have you here when Jorge reached out to me, your publicist, to get you here, because I want to use my platform for people to see what I'm living through. Our motto is not only solo el pueblo salva al pueblo, but our inner constitution here is transparent methodology, be transparent and be rigorously honest. And that is rigorously honest, right?
I love that. Nick, can I just say, I want to join you with that, because I totally respect people who decide to go on medication or not go on medication. I totally respect everybody's the expert of their body, their mind, their spirit, and their decisions. And I love that you just said that you are, because I talk about it in my book as well. I'm also on
Wow.
the medication. And I feel like I just want our stories to be added to all of the stories out there. Do you know what I mean? So that when somebody's going to make their own individual, very personal decision, that they don't just hear the negative stories or reactions, but they also hear like, oh, Nick acknowledges, and it helps him with his life and his relationships. Alejandra mentioned it as well. She's a better mother, a better person, a happier human being as a result of it. So I just want those stories to sit next to all of the other stories that people hear.
I love it. And I just want to give you the last word here as we put your book back up on the screen. Stones, Flowers, and Lessons Learned. Natalie Hernandez in the chat. Love that you guys are hyping up the chat here. I can't even get to all the YouTube comments right now. People of color voices matter. Yes, they do. And I haven't even checked in on Substack. Let me check in before I let you go here. Anna and J.E. McAleef and God, Rebecca Rudel. Thank you guys so much. So many comments on Substack that I haven't gotten to. I'll get to those in a little bit. I don't want to hold you up here. But as we close out here, any last words, anything that you'd like to say, anything that I haven't asked you that you think is important to know?
Just that if people want to continue the conversation, they can follow me on Instagram at Alejandra Acuña, PhD. And I'm working on the second book, My Cultural Soul Retrieval, Reclaiming the Mexican Art of Living Well. So after we healed from our trauma, I want to go back to what did our ancestors, our abuelitas know about living a good life, living well, because we get to reach that stage too.
You know, I think what I've learned also is that our parents are doing the best they could with what they had. And sometimes they didn't have enough themselves. And so that, all of that, I think, I try to do as a father now and tell my children that I'm growing up as they're growing up, that Papa doesn't have it all figured out, right? I'm still growing up, you know, and I hope that that resonates. I'm bound to fuck them up in their own way. They're going to blame me for something. It's going to come back to me, what I'm doing right now to my mom, I'm sure. But anyway, I'm not doing anything. I'm sorry. I'm trying to just, you know, I'm trying to get better. And this conversation really helped me out a lot. Thank you so much. Dr. Alejandra Acuña, author of the new book, Stones, Flowers, and Lessons Learned, stories about trauma, generations, stones and flowers, these moments in our life that can, you know, really make us, and how we turn our trauma and our pain into progress. Dr. Alejandra Acuña, thank you so much for taking the time with Nick Valencia Live. God bless you.
My pleasure. Thank you, Nick, for having me.
Take care. Abrazos. I cut you off. I'm so sorry about that. What a show, guys. What a show. We were able to get to it all, you know, and let me check in here on the chat. Great luck on, great. Best of luck on the second book. Amen. Best of luck on the second book. What a cool lineup that we had today. Let me go back to the top of the show. John Bernstein and Arlene Mock. Adam Wright. So it's good to see you, Adam. What do we got here? Arlene, Natalie. Let me see these comments. Oh, J.E. McAleef, these asshole snowflakes, they're so concerned about being seen, committing their crimes, they must focus on creating a smokescreen. I don't know. I hope that's about the ICE agents, not the people that they're going after. Oh, yes. Okay. What's the group? Great. Okay. Yeah, she's not on that side. Good. Thank you, Arlene, for sticking around and wanting to learn more. Well, you guys, thanks, J.E. All right. And yes, if you guys want to follow Calvin, Gary, Indiana, go to Capital B. Adam writes, thanks for your comment there. Just catching up with things here. And if you guys missed it, we had Contra ICE, the leadership of Contra ICE, at the top of the show. They have a new benefit album out with Tom Morello, Kathleen Hanna, Ad Rock, my friend Lalo Alcaraz, Fishbone, Fred Armisen. I mean, the list goes on and on. I'm kind of, you know, I've been helping try to amplify this stuff. I went and I did a piece on them when I first met Dali back in April with Frankie Quinones, Creeper, Cholo Fit. Guy's hilarious, man. Love that. And then we also took you to Gary, Indiana. We also took you to Northwest Indiana, where we talked to Capital B reporter Calvin Davis about what he's going through and what he's living through and what has happened to that community in the last 2+ weeks. You know, a lot of people would argue that if that community was a little bit more affluent, they'd be getting more resources right now. And we finished the show here with a personal conversation. My wife is leaving. It's okay. Go ahead. There you go. We also finished the show with a personal conversation about something that I've been dealing with, man. It's not something that I don't know. It's not something that I think I'm fully ready to talk about just yet, but I think it's important for people like me, and I mean people like me. I mean Latino men. I mean people sometimes like me who put up a veneer that we've got it all figured out and that we're doing well and that we don't need help. All I know is last week that my world started getting really, really small. And I started to feel really alone. And with that comes a lot of shame and embarrassment. And I want to say this to anyone out there who is listening to us still, or who may be watching this on replay, listening to us on, podcast, whatever, that you're not alone. I need to hear myself say that, because I know that there's a fellowship and a community out there for me, and there's one out there for you if you want to take it. Help is always there. The helpers are always around, man. I think it's really hard sometimes to see past the traumatic things that are happening on the streets of America. The ICE agents that are getting more aggressive, the American citizens that they've killed, the people that they've murdered. It can be heavy, especially when you're living through it like Calvin, when you're also reporting the story and asking the same thing that the people you're interviewing are asking. Where is the help? I have said this so many times on this show, que solo el pueblo salva al pueblo, that only the people save each other, because I really, really believe that. I live that, man. I think we live right now in an epoch of time, and perhaps this is just me coming to my own realizations, that we cannot guarantee help from the government. Sometimes this system that we pay into for help doesn't help us back, or the help is disproportionate sometimes to what we put in. We had a president a long time ago say, ask not what you can do, or ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And I think I want to hyper-focus that a lot more into our communities. Right now, we are in a time where it takes each one of us who are willing to use our privileges to step up and speak out against what we see is happening. 14 months ago, when I made the decision to launch NVN, I didn't know that we were going to be here like this. I didn't know that we were going to have a show where every week we have an engaged audience. I didn't know that millions of views would follow us every month. To meet the moment, because there was a moment to meet. I interviewed for those jobs in the mainstream. I thought that my life was destined to be on TV for the rest of it. And I still do television. You guys saw I was just back out in Los Angeles. I'm going to have a new project coming out in January with the History Channel. I can't give too many details, but I'm going to be back on TV. I think I got some of your guys' hopes up when I said that. Like, you guys thought I was going to go to like NBC or CBS or something like that. Now I'm right here, man. This is where I'm at. This is where I belong. This is where I've been made to feel is my community. Because for so long, I was in a newsroom where I felt uncomfortable or unwanted. I felt alone. It's not so much a bias of liberal or a liberal bias in the news. I think the smarter that you are, the more well-read you are, the more liberal that you tend to be. That's my opinion. I have noticed more. What is more pervasive in the mainstream and corporate media is a pervasive bias of elitism. And despite this nice coat, I'm wearing cut-off jean shorts here, man. Let me just stand up. It's like, I'm not elite. This ain't elite, man. I'm wearing high socks and Nike Cortez when I'm not here, man. This is just to be respectful of the guests. This is an anti-elite platform, but we do elite reporting, and we showcase elite people. People who are overlooked, people who may feel alone themselves, because it takes each one of us in our privileges to step up and extend our hand. Thank you guys for helping make truth go viral here, man. Thank you to all our guests, Dali Colorado, Jim Coleman, Jake Trussell, Calvin Davis, Dr. Alejandra Acuña, and just thank you to everyone out there who believes in us and who believes in what we're doing, because I feel like we're just getting warmed up, man. Our thanks also to our sponsor, man. This is what I'm talking about. I had no idea that we would be in this position. We've got a sponsor. Diaz and Gata Long Firm. Consulta gratuita. First consultation is free. You can reach them at 678-503-2780. You're going to see a lot more of Counsel Giovanni Diaz. Not so much Zach Gata. He doesn't want to be on air that much, but Giovanni Diaz, Counsel Diaz, has so much insight to share with us. We've already started to collaborate in more ways than we're even making public, because some things, when we help, they don't need to be made public, man. There's a lot of people that need to be helped out there, and Counsel Diaz is doing the work that matters out there. I wouldn't have partnered with him if I didn't believe in what he's doing morally. You know? There's a lot of people who have, I wouldn't say a lot of people, there's been people who have come and approached me with money, and not all money is good money. And I'm grateful to what I have built here, and then I didn't live beyond my means when I was a CNN correspondent, and then I could use a little bit of my privilege to say no, or tell some people to fuck off that are trying to take advantage of the traction that we gained. Because this is real, man. This is authentic. This cannot be faked, you know? We're in this for all the right reasons. We're in this because we care. We're in this because we really believe in what we're saying. There's no scripts, no teleprompter. All of this stuff is coming off the top of my head. I had no idea what I say half the time. I have to go back and watch the show to make sure I didn't fuck up too bad. Thank you guys for helping us make truth go viral. Thank you for spending an hour with us here. Hour and 17 minutes here on Thursday. I had a lot to say. We had a lot of guests. It's Thursday, August 27th, and you just watched the latest episode of Nick Valencia Live. Have a great day on purpose, everybody. This is the show after the show. I always stay a little while longer here. Read the comments. Fred Armisen, part of that project. I love that. This is one of the comments I didn't get to. I care about poverty in other nations, even though I'm not from there. Poor souls, a little compassion, donations. What do you think? Anyway, call me Lau. Okay. I don't know if that's spam or what. Not spam? Maybe. Who else is on here that I didn't get to? Jorge Cholapa, thank you, man, for Dr. Alejandra Acuña. That was really cool. Really, really cool stuff. Dali, you saw the jean shorts? It's hilarious. You're wonderful, Dali. Thank you. All right. Here, let me get to Substack. See what's going on. Thanks so much, Nick. Thank you, Adam. Come back. Join us Tuesdays and Thursdays, 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern. Good show. Great comments. Hold tight. Hold the line. Hold each other. Jared Scissor. Hey, Jared. Natalie and I were just talking about you, man. You need to come back on the show. We'd love to have you. Jared Scissor. Wish I can come on and say hi. Katri. LOL. I don't know where you're laughing to, but probably something funny. Francesca Jellison. Thank you. Anayeli Rivas. All you guys watching, be sure to share this on your Substack. Amplify the message. Get us out there. I'll leave you here with a little creeper meditation.
Hey, what's up, homie? It's your homie Creeper, from Cholo Fit. We're gonna take a little breath, homie. You know what I'm saying? Do a little meditation to combat all the evil going on in the world right now. Because to that evil, we say, Stupid. How dumb. All these fools coming in like, oh, we're do-gooders, or oh, you know, we're contributing all these things, when really they're just spreading hatred and negativity, homie. To that we say, stupid. How dumb. Kind of like that one tia, homie, who shows up to the barbecue with the little like $6 side dish of potato salad that nobody likes, homie. It tastes pretty whack, you know, because she got it right there at Ralph's Market, and it only has like 4 scoops in it anyway, homie. So it's like, dang. But she showed up all proud, like, hey, look, I'm contributing, all crazy. But then she proceeds to drink all the, like, most of the beer and the alcohol, homie, and gets all faded and starts talking shit, starts talking papas about everybody. Like, oh, Ricky can't hold a job, and Chencha looks dumb in turtlenecks, but you know, she's like not to feed into her negativity too, homie, but she's ugly, homie. Like, she hasn't had a man in like 12 years, and like everybody knows that. But she's right there. She'll get all drunk, homie. She starts trying to twerk, you know, ass up at the barbecue. That's nasty, like trying to get a man all thirsty, but nobody likes it, homie. And then she ends up like hurting her back, and it's just like sad and negative, homie. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that, but like 1,000 times worse what's happening, homie. You know what I'm saying? Like these fools come in here like, oh, we're contributing, but then they're just causing trauma and spreading hatred and trying to ruin the lives of immigrants who helped build this country, homie. So to that, we say, stupid.